11:05, TSN 690. Welcome to hour number 2 of the show. We're here until midnight tonight. We're back on Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, as opposed to Pacific. I don't know why I said that. GamePointsRadio.com, by the way, is our blog where we sometimes post articles. Other times we post audio from shows. So check that out. Bookmark it. Do what you have to. GamePointsRadio.com. In the next segment, I will tell you why the Canadians should be ashamed of themselves. Nothing to do with on ice. We'll tell you about that in the next segment. Right now, though, we are talking about what is going on ice with your Habitat. 790-1690 is the telephone number. TSN Matthew on Twitter.com. Prior to the break, we had a very disturbing tweet from Le Habs Baby asking what the Canadians could get from Markov. And I asked this gentleman to explain himself. And, well, guys, he's just responded. And he says, hey, I'm not excuse me. Wow, let's try that again. That's going in the audio vault, huh? Hey, not knocking Markov. Love Markov. My thought behind it was he's not a Marc Bergevin guy. Part of the last regime was just a question. Well, when you have a guy who's that good on the power play, you don't let him go. They don't grow on trees, and you can't double-team one guy at the point if you have Subban and Markov, so there's no way they're trading him. No way. Absolutely no way. Did I say there was no way? Yeah, I think I said that already.
And not just on the power play, but you factor in his chemistry with Emelin and how well Alexei Emelin has played being alongside Markov and just being able to communicate with someone of the same country as him, speaking the same language, and you have to factor that in as to why Emelin has played so well this year.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point as well. Game Points here on TSN 690. 514-790-1690 is the telephone number if you want to weigh in on the Canadiens game tonight, or what you think they need moving forward. Maybe there's somebody in this area code that says they don't need anything. They don't need one gosh darn thing. Now, here's my problem with what the Canadiens have done this year. Phenomenal record, great results, nothing to say negatively about that. But to me, it resembles a little bit the season in which they finished first overall with Guy Carbonneau as head coach, where it was a lot of speed, a lot of finesse, and not a lot of bite. Now, they have some different guys, Prost, Gallagher. They have some guys with some bite to their game. However, I just feel like on the top two lines, you need something more. Pacioretty's not a soft player. Don't get me wrong there. Just feels like they need one more piece because you know what? When you go up against a tough team for 7 games and you're the faster, slender, smaller team, that's going to weigh on you. You can do it for one game, for one-offs. No, not a problem. Are you confident that the Canadiens can beat the Boston Bruins in 7 games right now? 514-790-1690. Can the Canadiens beat the Bruins in a 7-game series tomorrow? If it happened tomorrow, could they do it? Could they beat the Flyers? Flyers are a 500 team right now, but could they beat the Flyers with the likes of Hartnell and Rinaldi and some of these, tough guys play on that team? I don't know. I don't know. Now, if the Canadiens were playing another team in the Eastern Conference, maybe someone like, I don't know, New Jersey doesn't strike me as one of the toughest teams in the league. However, they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final, so maybe that wasn't a good example. Maybe Carolina. How about let's use Carolina, right? They might win that division. They're not the toughest team in the world. They do have some tough players. Jay Harrison, very tough defenseman. They have some tough guys, but if you went up against Boston as opposed to Carolina, I think there'd be a difference in intensity and physicality. So that would be my take on it. Stefano?
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, it is all about matchups, I think. It doesn't really matter to me what seed you are. It just depends on the team you match up against. And the team going to the finals may very well depend on the teams they match up against. So, I mean, the Canadiens, there are definitely some teams they could beat in the playoffs. I mean, you look at right now, maybe Ottawa with all the injuries they have, if they were to squeak in the playoffs and play Montreal.
Although they will get Spezza back prior to the playoffs if they are in that position, in a top 8 position. So that will help them certainly.
Right, but still Carlson out, and you really don't know how effective Spezza would be when he comes back. And also, yeah, you look at a few other teams, the New York Rangers, maybe they've lost a bit of the spark they had last year. The Devils as well. But, yeah, I mean, Boston and Philly, I think, are the really two teams that stand out because those are the two teams that have been the thorn in the Canadiens' backside these past few times in the playoffs. 2009 and 2011 losing to the Bruins, 2008 losing to the Flyers, and then 2010 losing to the Flyers. So it's really the more rugged teams that the Canadiens will have to look out for. And, yes, they do need size up front. And also, I think they could use some size on the back end as well as their defensemen have played. It's one-off games. Over a 7-game series, those bigger forwards will weigh down the defenseman.
Here's the problem with trying to get a big-sized defenseman on the blue line. They're not all that available. Every team is looking for help on the blue line. Every team is looking for a big body with experience. And what's going to happen is if you want one of these guys and you're desperate for them, you're going to end up paying an arm and a leg. In other words, either with a lot in a trade or a high draft pick, or you're going to have to spend a lot of money. You know, a guy like Jay Bouwmeester, who's just so overrated at this point in his career, he's making a whole lot of money. He's not worth that money. Even prorated over a few games, I don't even know if it's worth that. And so that's what you're going to end up getting. Now, the Canadiens could certainly call up a guy like Jared Tenorti and see what he could do in the playoffs. That's an option. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, you look at that defense core, God bless Francis Bouillon, but he's a little guy. He's a little guy, a feisty guy. He can kick my ass. There's no question about it. In fact, he could probably kick my ass with one arm. I'm trying to think if he can kick my ass with both hands behind his back. I'm not sure. I feel like I could kind of kick him and run, and he won't be able to just grapple me because his arms are tied behind his back. But it all depends. If we're going to be in a cage, I don't even know why I'm going there. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, they have Diaz, who eventually will be back. He's not a physical defenseman. Bouillon, little guy. Cabriolet, I'm not even going to go there. Markov, not a physical defenseman, but obviously very good positionally. Subban certainly can play physical. Georges can play physical. But again, you got to think in terms of a 7-game series. Playing every second night, playing in a physical, a much more intense physical what's the word I'm looking for? Setting. It's going to be a different animal than using your speed. Game points here on TSN 690. Let us take Chris in TMR. Go ahead, Chris. You are on Game Points.
Hey, guys. Nice listening. What's up?
Not much. Yourself?
Good. I heard this before last year, and you know what? It just came to my head again. Why not hit Cabernet for Commissaric?
You know, the problem with that is that Cabernet is a guy that Toronto got rid of already, and number two, he's signed through or past this year. So unless you get the Maple Leafs to buy him out, or unless you send some money their way, and they're going to have cap problems too. So I don't know if you can't get rid of a guy with a contract like that. You just can't.
But I think Commissaric is signed for next year too.
No, I believe he's a free agent. I believe. Is he not?
No, he's signed for next year too. It makes sense both ways.
Well, I mean, the problem with that is Commissaric's an extra piece right now too, right? He's in and out of the lineup. So if you're going to have Cabernet to sit on the bench, is there really a point to it? I mean,
no, my point is, we want size. Commissaric is sitting on the bench. Cabernet is sitting on the bench. It's going to be a win-win.
But why would the Maple Leafs do it?
But why wouldn't they do it?
No. You got to answer the first part, though. You got to answer the first part, Chris. Why would they do it?
Why would they do it? Because Commissaric is not doing anything for Toronto.
He's playing better this year than he has in the past.
No, he played, I think, 6 games this year. He's been on the bench.
When he's in there, he's playing better. It's just that they have more depth this year. That's the bonus, I guess, for the Leafs is that they're getting that depth this year. The guy, what's the guy they called up? Costa, I believe, from the minors. He's playing very, very well for them this year. So he's just kind of been bypassed on the depth chart. He hasn't stunk up the joint, so to speak. So that's the difference.
I was just thinking, Cabernet for Commissaric. Cabernet has always been at Toronto Maple Leafs, and Commissaric has always been on Montreal. It might be a win-win for both teams. You never know.
One more year for Commissaric. How many more years for Cabernet, Mr. Mitchell?
One more year as well.
All right, interesting theory, though. Thanks so much for the call, Chris. That's Chris in TMR.
Same cap hit as well.
Same cap hit, huh? Switch a problem for a problem? Homecoming for both players? Interesting, huh?